Yes friends, now let us focus on your utilization of credit and restriction on utilization of credit. As discussed, when you talk about your availment of credit, what all credit you can take. If it is intrastate supply, CGST, SGST or CGST, UTGST. If it is interstate supply, IGST. If it is import of goods where customs duty is there, you cannot take the credit of your basic customs duty, social welfare surcharge and special customs duties. That credit will not be available. But you can still take credit of IGST portion of customs duty. And in all these cases, if at all along with GST you have compensation cess, that credit you can take. So if you have CGST, SGST in compensation cess, take the credit of compensation cess also. If you have IGST in compensation cess, take the credit of compensation cess also. If you have compensation cess on the items that is imported, which means that if customs duty includes compensation cess, take the credit of compensation cess as well. So that you have already discussed. Now let us focus on your utilization of credit. Friends, this utilization of credit is discussed in your section 49 subsection 5, read along with section 49A, which means section 49 read along with section 49A, read along with section 49B, read along with rule 88A. So 3 sections, section 49, 49A, 49B, read along with rule 88. This talks about your utilization of credit. How to use the credit? You have availed the credit on your purchases, you are using it for your tax on your sales. You have availed the credit on your purchases, you are using it for your tax on your outward supply, that is sales. Right. So when you talk about your IGST credit first has to be used for IGST output and then it can be used for CGST output or SGST output in any order, any proportion. Right. Your input tax will always be used for paying output tax. So your IGST credit, input tax credit, first will be used for paying IGST output tax. Then it can be used for paying CGST output tax or SGST output tax in any order, in any proportion. That is up to you. You have to see the question and you have to use the credit in such a way that is optimum utilization. You are paying the amount tax very less in cash portion and you are utilizing the credit to the maximum extent possible. Right. So here you have to be a bit careful. So IGST input first for IGST output, then for CGST output, SGST output in any order, any proportion. Only after using IGST credit fully, then you will talk about your CGST credit. CGST credit first will be used for your CGST output. CGST credit first will be used for CGST output, then it will be used for IGST output. But CGST input tax credit can never be used for SGST output. Right. So CGST credit will be used only after IGST credit is completely used, fully utilized. Then you will use CGST credit. That will be first used for CGST output tax, then it will be used for IGST output tax. But CGST input tax credit can never be used for SGST output tax. Finally, you have finally only you can use SGST credit. So first try using IGST credit, then CGST credit, then SGST credit. When you are using IGST credit, first for IGST output, then for CGST and SGST output in any order, any proportion. Then when you are using CGST credit, first for CGST output, then for IGST output, but never use for SGST output. Finally, when you are using SGST credit, first use it for SGST output, then use it for IGST output, but your SGST input tax credit cannot be used for CGST output. Friends, CGST and SGST can never be interused, which means that CGST credit cannot be used for SGST output. Likewise, SGST credit cannot be used for CGST output. So that, friends, you have to remember. Right, the sequence is first fully use IGST credit, then use CGST credit, then use SGST credit. IGST credit first use it for IGST output, then for CGST output, SGST output, any ratio, any proportion, any order. Next use CGST credit first for CGST output, then for IGST output, but never for SGST output. Finally use SGST credit first for SGST output, then for IGST output, but never for CGST output. If at all compensation cess is there, compensation cess utilization is pretty simple. Compensation cess input can be used only for compensation cess output, 1 to 1. So compensation cess input can be used only for payment of compensation cess output. Right. Now, this is all about utilization. For sure, you will have a question. You have to present the question in such a way that you get a right answer. So please follow your master Q bank format, not your ICA format, to ensure that you don't make mistake in utilization. So we have a standard format for all the questions, even that of ICI, presented in our own manner, very simple manner. Follow that format when you're talking about utilization of your credit. First have IGST credit, then have CGST credit, then have SGST credit. So that presentation will be very helpful in avoiding silly mistakes. Now let us talk about, this utilization is thoroughly over. Let us talk about restriction on utilization of ITC. Friends, it is a special provision, Rule 86A, restriction on utilization of ITC, which means officers are not telling that you cannot take ITC. You can still take ITC, but you cannot use it. So what is meant by restriction on utilization of ITC? Restriction on utilization of ITC, friends, it means that not to allow your ITC. You can take your ITC, but you cannot use it for discharging liability. You cannot use it for payment of output tax. You cannot claim the refund. So can I still avail the ITC? Yes. You can still take the ITC in your electronic credit ledger, but it cannot be debited. You cannot use the same, right? You will get the amount in your electronic credit ledger. So credit will be there in electronic credit ledger, but it will not allow debit. It cannot be used for setting off output, used for claiming a refund. Now there are certain special points that you have to remember. For this restriction on utilization of ITC, it is a very harsh provision on assessees. So not anyone can do it. Only commissioner or an officer authorized by commissioner can do it, but that officer should also be at least assistant commissioner, not below the rank of assistant commissioner. So this is a very serious provision. Only commissioner can start it, or any authorized officer not below the rank of assistant commissioner can start it. Then there are certain special points that you have to also remember. Now when you talk about this provision, there is no notice that needs to be given. Directly officer can tell that you cannot use it. So there is no notice, there is no show cause notice. So principle of natural justice is not there. And another special point that I was trying to tell, 86A, Rule 86A does not prohibit availment. You can still avail the ITC. It prohibits only utilization. So it is trying to tell that you keep on taking credit. Your credit ledger will keep on increasing. What we are telling is you cannot use your credit, pay it only by cash ledger. When I tell that you cannot use your credit, you cannot pay your output tax by credit, you have to pay only by cash. So they are only restricting utilization part, not the availment part. Now another important thing is for you to understand is, it is a very serious provision. Can officer have it for a long time? No. This restriction will be there till the officer is satisfied that such activities, what are the activities we'll see in the end, such fraudulent activities are no more into existence, or 1 year from the date of imposition, whichever is earlier. So officer cannot misuse it. Till officer is satisfied that the fraudulent activities that were going on is no longer there, or 1 year from the date of imposition of such restriction, whichever is earlier, this restrictions can be there, which means that you cannot use your ITC only till that point of time, where officer is either satisfied that no fraud is there, or 1 year from the date of imposition, whichever is earlier. It is not whichever is later, whichever is earlier. Now friends, the main part which is there left out in this restriction on utilization, when officer will try to restrict utilization of ITC, what are the circumstances? What are the grounds for such restriction? Now, officers should have reasons to believe that the credit has been fraudulently availed or it is ineligible, which means there is something fraud. The credit that assessee is trying to take is fraudulently availed or it is ineligible. Why officer is having such doubts? Officer is having such doubts because recipient is not having corresponding document. Either the recipient is not having, if I am the recipient, I am not having the supporting document, say tax invoice, or recipient is availing ITC without receipt of goods or services. Either recipient is not having document, or recipient is not receiving goods or services, or supplier has not paid the tax to the government. So who takes ITC? Only the recipient. So there are certain fraudulent activities that are going on, which officer has reasons to believe that the credit availed is fraud or it is ineligible. Now what are those activities? Recipient is not having document, recipient is not having goods or services, or supplier is not paying taxes. Now there's one more ground, additional ground. There's one more ground. What is that one more ground? Either the supplier or the recipient. See, the first three are separately given, last one is separately given, right? In the first three cases, these are one of the conditions for taking input tax credit. Now the last point is, either the supplier or recipient is found to be non-existent. They are not there. They are there only in books. They cannot be found. Officers is trying to search their premises, trying to find out the supplier or recipient, but they are not there. Or they are not conducting business from place for which registration has been obtained, which means that they are doing business from a place which is not declared on the registration certificate, and from a place which is declared in the registration certificate, there is no business being done. So they are doing their business, but not from a place which is declared on the registration certificate. They are doing business from some other place which is not declared anywhere, right? So these are the grounds on the basis of which restriction on utilization can be started, right? The first three grounds were one of the conditions of taking input tax credit, which means recipient is not having document, or recipient is not having goods or services, or supplier is not paying taxes. The last condition is a separate special ground where they are telling that either the supplier or the recipient, either or, they are not at all found. We tried to find them, but they are not at all found, or they are doing business but not from a place which is declared in the registration certificate, right? So that is all about your restriction on utilization of ITC. So where we have discussed two parts. One was your utilization of ITC, which is extremely important for your practical questions, and one was restriction on utilization of ITC, which you can expect in your theoretical questions.